thing in my mouth and it's hot. What's up, y'all? So one, I want to say I really technically don't want to do this video. I really don't think I should be doing this video, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Alright? Whew. My video was supposed to be about something totally different, but we're going to do a rewind on my life, how I got here, blah, 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 right? So many of you guys are new here. I want to say thank you. Thank you for coming to this channel and hopefully loving what you guys see. My name is Cindy. Casey is upstairs. If y'all listen really closely, y'all can hear him snoring. Y'all hear it? So this month will mark 8 years that I left my ex, right? And this is nothing besides just some heated up butter, melted butter. So my ex was a female, right? And I loved her dearly. I loved her dearly. Say this with me. I loved her dearly, but I guess I can tell some truths because it is what it is. I met her from off of Craigslist, right? Be like, Sin, you lying. Nah, I'm dead serious. I met her off of Craigslist, right? You know, she was supposed to be a booty call. I don't know if I ever told y'all that, but she was. And we talked several times, and then, you know, she would get me mad, or I would get her mad, and we would just stop talking. But somehow we would always just keep going back to each other. And this was before we even met, right? So I ended up talking to one of her homegirls from off of Craigslist as well, right? But her homegirl was a fat girl, and I didn't like her. Right now, like, I'm a fat girl. But anyway, not as big as her homegirl was. But probably like a week or two later, I met her. And I met her on, like, in person, September the 18th. 2009. And be like, how you know exactly the day you met her? Because when I met her, I told y'all this. We ended up, and in the midst of it, my brother had called me, right? And was telling me that my niece was born. So, you know, we had our ups and downs in our relationship. She is Aries. This month is her birthday as well. We dated for 5 years, I think. And, you know, we had good and bad points, but, like, we never became, like, physical or nothing. One time when, you know, we had, it was, you know what? It was March. St. Patrick's Day. I didn't have my license at this time, but I had drove her car, and I think I was tired, and me and her was in an argument or something. So I was leaving there, the house because we lived together, and I was leaving the house, and I was going to go see my son's father, my ex at the time, right? And I must have fell asleep. I was sleepy, and I fell asleep behind the wheel, I think. I don't know what happened. I was like, I seen a car that was on my right side, and I was looking, and the car was smoking, but I think I probably fell asleep. Right? So, this was on St. Patrick's Day. and I ended up running into a car that was in front of me. Uh, and she was mad or whatever. Like, and I remember she didn't ask me, was I okay? Cindy, do you feel good or whatever? Until like a month later, like I never asked you, was you okay? But she ended up leaving that weekend and going to New York and going to go spend time with her family, right? I don't know if it's pre-planned or whatever, but that's what she did. And, like, it was little to no communication between me and her because, she was mad that I crashed her car, and I could understand that. So, what had happened was, I think I told y'all I'm really, like, into, if, like, me and you together, I have, like, visions or dreams. And it be something, like, crazy because my dreams be so on point. Right? So, my dream that I had when she was there or whatever was that she had slept with her ex-girlfriend, right? So I called her and I was like, I had a dream that you was intimate with da 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 da. And she was like, no, I'm just, chilling. I went for dinner and I, came back and chilled with her niece and nephew. In which that's pretty much what I seen in my dream. But she also was intimate with the girl. So that was 2000 and I don't know. Before I got my license. I don't remember who went away. So anyway, maybe like 2011, maybe. So she came home. We talked about it. She was just like, I'm mad at you, wrecked the car, or whatever. She was like, but, I'm glad that you're okay. And, cars can be replaced. So, we ended up getting married and engaged 2 years later, right? And I'm like, if we do this, you got anything you want to tell me, you for hand. She was like, no. So it was like, I was just like, I was crazy and I was dumb. I was like, I don't want to be engaged too long, da 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 da. Because I had told her I only wanted to date for like 5 years. So I guess, she felt like she was on a time limit or whatever, right? Try to move these closer to y'all. So, we got engaged and we got engaged in February, right? And I was like, well, let's, get married, sooner than later because one, I was getting older. So we picked put the dates in a hat or whatever. I'm still like, is anything you want to tell me? She's like, no. We talked about her past relationships and talked about mine. And blah, blah, blah. I told her I was only in one abusive relationship. And she was like, she was in an abusive relationship and, men used to da-da whatever. Oh, okay. But she never told me that, she was sometimes the aggressor. But once we got married, and on August, when I get married, August the 8th. Yeah, August the 8th. Right? So that's we didn't stay engaged long. But when we got married, she had a messed up leg or whatever. And, like the honeymoon night, that was trash. We in the bed, and I'm like, what did I just do? I can't believe we just did this, right? So we got married in August. We closed on a house in November, like right before Thanksgiving, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, maybe in 2013. And once we moved into this house, a beautiful house, right? 5 bedrooms, 2 4 bedrooms, and two half bathrooms. A family room, a dining room, a living room, family room, dining room, kitchen. It was 4 rooms downstairs. I forget the names of them. Family room, dining room, entertainment room, 2-car garage, 4 finished basement, lovely backside, outside. But it was like my house of horror. Like, y'all see how, like, sometimes, I want to share videos and share pictures of my house and stuff. She ain't like that. You can show the in-house. You can show the outside the house. None of that. Because I remember after we moved, I'm like, let's do YouTube. She's like, no, I don't want to do YouTube. Right? So, when I would put stuff on the wall, right, she would take it directly down. Right? And I'm like, this is my house too. So, we would fight. Like, once we moved into the house, she became abusive. Right? And I'm a person where what happens in my house stays in my house. And when we became abusive, she became abusive, like, I was just like, I can't do this. I think I left like 3 times. But like one time it was a black bathing suit. I forget when it was, but it was in summertime, probably like 2014, maybe. I had this black bathing suit that I had since 2010 that me and her went to Florida and Freeport, Bahamas, in which I wore it, right? She got mad because I took a picture outside the car before I went to the pool. Came home, and all my stuff was threw down tossed down the steps, right? And that was just crazy to me. That was one time I laughed. Then I remember the other time I don't remember. Like, I remember one time my car was packed up with, as much of the stuff that was mine in the car. And she's like, no, you're not leaving. And she was standing on this side of my car. I had a Honda, 2008, right? She took a sledgehammer and bust my window over. The driver, like the front window, right? Like, I'm driving on the highway with the window looking like that, right? And I remember leaving, and she called me, and y'all know what my stupid self did? I went right back to the house, right? And I remember when I went back, we had like this square table. I'm in the house, and I'm where she at. I'm walking around the table, and she was like, why are you walking around the table like that? I'm like, because I just don't want you to hit me, right? And she like, I promise you I'm not going to hit you. Because earlier, when I had left, I think she hit me. Like, I'm not a fighter. I am a fighter if I have to, but like, I don't want to fight the person that I love, And for some reason, I loved her. Y'all like, Cinder, what? I know, right? And like I never told my family this. So we go in the house, and I allow her to text me, and she's like, I'm sorry, I promise you I won't never do it again. I promise you I won't never do it again. Probably 6 months later, around this time, I was trying to surprise her with a birthday present or a birthday party, right? Enlisting her sister, right? Enlisting her sister, because I knew her friends, or some of them, but I ain't know a lot of them. So, hold on, y'all. So her sister was the person do all that. So I was trying, like I was literally trying to stay and help her sister, accomplish the party. But like in my head, it was like, saying you need to leave. This not for you. So one day I had like already moved out the master bedroom into like the little master bedroom, right? And I don't know, something had happened, but I'm missing a part. So we went to marriage counseling, right? And trying to work our marriage out, because quote unquote we loved each other and wanted to work the marriage out. So while we was in marriage counseling, I was telling her, I was like, I just want you to work on your anger issue. I want you, to be more kind, nicer, embrace me and thank you, be thankful for the little things that I do, because I'm thankful for everything that you do for me, right? So marriage counseling lasted like 6 months, and I thought we was turning a new leaf or whatever. So then the marriage counseling had ended, and once it ended, she was like in the house. We was in the house, and she was like, I was in the kitchen, and right here was the family room, right? She was like, sit down. I want to tell you something because I really want to work on our marriage. I'm like, okay. I'm like, but I don't want to sit down though. I said I'd rather stand up. So she was like, remember when you asked me if I cheated with blah 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 back, and I'm just rounding about 2011, and I told you I didn't? I'm like, yeah. She was like, well, I really did sleep with her, but I didn't want to hurt your feelings, so I didn't tell you. I didn't, I kept it a secret. She was like, but you my wife, right? And you can't do nothing about it now, right? I'm like, me? I'm like, I can't do nothing about it. I'm like, this is something that you should have told me in marriage counseling, right? This is something that you should have told me before we got married, because I would have never married you, right? And she was just like, so what you gonna do? I'm like, just give me some time. I'm like, even though it just didn't happen, and it happened years ago, it's like it just happened because you just opened up old wounds that were supposed to be healed because it never happened. Right? And she was like, okay. So remember, we trying to work on our marriage. And I'm sleeping in the small room. The small master bedroom. Right? no, I'm in the room and like I'm ear hustling on her conversation. So she was like, "You ever did this before?" And the girl was like, "No." Right? No, the girl was like, "Huh? What you talking about?" But the girl must have just didn't hear her. And the girl was like, "You ain't never did." She was like, Max was like, "You never did this before?" She was like, "No." What are you talking about? She was like, "Phone sex." Right? And I was like, "You need to go." I was like, "Come downstairs now." Right? Because I was, I was just mad because at the end of the day, we were supposed to be working on us. Right? And I was like, I don't remember the conversation we had when I went downstairs. I'm like, I'm trying to be nice and, I'm trying to da whatever. And because I'm trying not to tell her about the party. Because, her sister still needed me to make the party happen. Right? And, I was just like, I'm going to try. But I'm like, you couldn't wait till I wasn't in the house to do that. I'm like, I heard your conversation or whatever. And she was like, "But I'm single." I said, "But we were supposed to be working on us." She's like, "We are." I said, "But you having phone sex with other people. That's not working on us." Right? So, I don't know if it happened that day or another day. But I remember her saying, if one of us don't leave, one of us going to leave in a body bag. Like, I think I had to go to work like the next couple of days. So, because I lived in pretty much Delaware and my family lived in Baltimore, I was just like, I'm going to wait until after, it's time for work to be over with for the week. Right? So, oh, I left. And then I left like the 15th or the 17th of March. Right? And that might have, no, I don't know if that's when she bust the window open. I think when she bust the window open is when I had the bathing suit on. But it was just crazy, y'all. Like, it was like I loved her presence, but like, she was crazy. And we didn't see each other. Like, she would call me and whatnot, but every time she had got my phone number, I would change my phone, like my phone number, because somebody else was giving her my number. Right? So she was like, "I know where you live at. You know where I live at." Because what I did when I moved, I didn't change. I changed my address to my mom and father address. But where I was staying at, I never gave it to her. Right? Because she had became abusive, threatening me. And I was just like, I just didn't want her to know where I laid my head at night time. Because y'all see how domestic relationships turn out. Somebody always end up getting hurt in the end. So, one time when we ain't got invited to a party with mutual friends, right? And it was Labor Day, right? It was like one of a big gay bash, right? And I didn't want to go, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go because my son godmother was like, "Son, come outside. Everybody want to see you. Make sure you good, right?" So we, I ended up going with my homegirl, right? And I had on this this orange colorful dress, right? And it looped around my neck, but it was like a mechanical bull amp, right? So I got on the mechanical bull when I was sober, and I was on him, felt right on. But then I had told my homegirl that I was with, D, we'll call it D. I told D, they both of their names is D. So Case and Godmother is D, and the girl I was with was D. But the girl D that I was with, I said, when my ex come here, whenever she get here, just make sure I'm drinking, right? Because I was just like relaxed, right? So I got really, really tore up. Like I was doing Jello shots and everything. My son going up and was giving me that, and I don't remember this, but they said I was kissing a lot of girls. I was just going around kissing bitches. Oops, excuse me. Right? So I got back on the mechanical bull. I was the last person to ride the mechanical bull, and I ended up winning. And it was crazy because my ex never came next to me. But that following weekend, she called me, and she was like, I was pulling up to the house or whatever, and the reception where I lived at was bad. And she was just like, I was like, hello? She was like, hello? It was like dead silence. And then the phone hung up. So I texted her, emailed her. And I was like, if you on some BS, don't text me, don't call me, whatever. Right? And she was like, no, I want to talk. Right? I'm like, all right. So we ended up, I didn't talk to her that night. But I was like, I got to work. I was like, give me a couple of days and we can talk. So we ended up talking, and a whole month later, or whenever, she was like, I miss you. You know, you good in the bedroom. If I was to say, let's get around, what would you say? As I told y'all, I love this girl. Even though she was abusive to me. Right? So, say Labor Day, the weekend after that, and you was talking on and off. And, like, we ended up making plans to meet up. We met up on the 3rd of October. So the first time she seen me, y'all, was like seeing me in my presence and talking to me, whatever. But 7 months later, and we went to the steakhouse. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I don't understand. I went there, but we did, and I was like, I don't want to come in the house because she was like, she had women living there with her. Like, I think it was 2 different women, right? Women and their kids. So we ended up meeting up on the 3rd, going out to eat, and it was late or whatever. So she was like, you gonna go home or you gonna stay here? I was like, I'll stay here. I remember going in the house and like standing up against the cabinet. And she was like, why you looking like that? I'm like, cause it's not my house no more. And she was like, it is your house. I said, no, it don't belong to me no more. Right? And then I remember us probably watching a movie maybe. And going upstairs, and I slept in the bed, and I was like, oh my God. She was like, you gotta get over this. Especially if we're gonna be together. Right? So, washed up. And we ended up being intimate that night. Right? But I can tell y'all that the intimate, it was so beautiful but ugly at the same time. Like, we are intimate, and I remember crying real bad. And she was like, what's wrong? I was like, you don't belong to me. You don't belong to me. Right? And I was like, we can't never do this again. Right? And it was good. I want to tell y'all, it was really good. But I was like, we can't never do this again. And she was like, what, why? I was like, because, you gave you to other people. So because you gave you to other people, like, it don't feel the same. And that was the 3rd. We talked for a couple of times. I ended up helping her get a puppy. Her name is Kayla, right? A golden retriever, right? And I'm mad that I did that, but anyway, then my birthday was coming up, and I was like, I don't want to see you for my birthday, right? And she was like, cool. I was like, I just don't want no drama for my birthday. My birthday the previous year, like, I spent it with her, but like, she didn't do anything special for me. Like, I was big on going to Fridays, and when we went to Fridays, like the points calculated and added up. I used my Friday points to get me free food, get her free food, and my free dessert. I don't even think we had sex or whatever. And I was just like, I don't want no BS, right? So I ended up having a paint night with friends. And I remember going to the club with my sisters, right? But not going inside the club, because at the end of the day, I wanted to be with her. But like, I just knew something was going to go a ruckus. So I'm in the car